Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. If you haven't seen it yet, Wells Fargo is being sued for the discrimination of people with African American people with mortgage, allegations of discrimination. Some of you on this channel might not care to hear this, but I'm going to be telling you what they did, and they're going to be represented by Ben Crump's lawsuit. And but I'm going to tell you exactly what they went through, but I'm going to even go further than that. I'm going to tell you about a potential discrimination case that I may be bringing forth against a particular bank. I'm not going to mention their name, but I'm going to leave that at the end, and I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you the question if you believe that I was discriminated against as like a week ago. When I tell you this, maybe some of you may say that I wasn't. Some of you probably will say I was, but I think that this would be one of those where you would probably say 100% of you will say, not just because you like me and like the channel, that I was potentially discriminated against for a mortgage application. Okay, so first let's talk about Wells Fargo being sued over allegations of discrimination by the Ben Crump law firm, and this is in our lane. Some people say, Steve, why don't you stay in your lane? This is in our lane because these people actually did everything that you're supposed to do, and they still had problems. So the first was a homeowner. He's a businessman. He had the income. This is kind of similar to what I went through. He had the income, taxes, assets, everything, credit, everything. Credit score was in the 840s or eight. I think he had an 840 and an 850 on one of his reports. He submitted to get a loan, a mortgage loan for property, and his property, because some people may say, well, was it an investment property? So no, it was his home. Similar situation to what I'm going to be describing to you later that happened to me. Went to get the loan, and they did approve him, but they approved him at a subprime rate. Regardless of what his credit was, his income, everything, he was given a subprime rate, like someone that had a 650 or 640 credit score. And he said because he knew he had been in the industry before, that he knew that this was a bunch of BS. And he questioned them on it, and he said that they were just like silent. And he brought his suit because he was like, what if a family just didn't know? And there's a lot of people that ask questions here on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page and other places, and they have questions, and everybody does not know everything about credit. Everybody does not know about if your score is a certain amount, you should be getting prime rates, or you should be getting subprime rates, or middle of the road rates. People don't know that, and they get taken advantage of. And I know some people will probably say, well, you should know. Well, everybody doesn't know. I'm here to let you know that if you're one of the ones that would say that. He ended up going to another bank, and he did get a very low interest rate he was taken care of. Now, some people may say, well, you just don't have to do business with them. You should just do business with somebody else. Well, actually, it is not the same as going to one place to do business and then going to another place to do business if that business is solely not wanting to give you the rate because of the color of your skin. So if that's totally different. Like I hear some people say, well, you could just take your business over here or take it over there. Well, how many times do you want to have to do that? Would you want to do that if you just came into a store and someone said, well, we're just not going to, sell to you, and then you went to another store? See, what people don't take into account is that it's Wells Fargo one day and then it's another bank another day. So what are you supposed to do? Just play round robin. The next one here was a couple who did a forbearance, and everybody was doing this during the when the virus emergency happened, and the all the mortgage companies offered a 1 year forbearance. And now, just in case you are new to my channel, I had introduced a product that was called COVID-19 Payment Relief Program. And I released that program where I was telling people how to, number one, get deferments on their consumer debt, like automobiles, homes, and stuff like that. But I also had stated, because I knew what had happened in 2008, that these banks, these lenders will try to pretend like they didn't give you the deferment. They were reporting it on people's credit reports, and they're not supposed to report it on there. They're just supposed to give the deferment, and you're supposed to just start off, 3 months later. And for the mortgages, it was a year later. Well, this couple, even though they signed all the documents, they had everything that they were supposed to do, and they also banked with Wells Fargo. And when it came time for that year to end, and they were going to just start up on their payments, all of a sudden they had someone knock on their door, and they were trying to take their property away from them. And they were like, "What? How are you trying to take the property when they had a legal and written contract forbearance?" And some of you may be saying, "Well, if they got the contract, how are they doing it?" They're doing it because they expect people not to know. They expect people not to initiate their rights. They expect people not to go to court and push and say, "Hey, you can't just steal my property." Because basically what they're trying to do to this couple is basically, from what they're alleging and what Ben Crump's law office is alleging, is that they were actually trying to steal their property. Now, imagine if you were in your home, everybody went through trouble, and you did a forbearance, and all of a sudden they brought papers to your house saying that they're gonna, you haven't been paying your mortgage for the last year, and you knew you did a forbearance, and all of a sudden they're just trying to steal your property. So that's one case. And the third one that they had was an older lady who owned her home for years. She actually only owed $25,000 left on paying on the mortgage. The house is worth $250,000. She wanted to go and get a loan. I believe, I don't want to say for sure, but they tried to give her a loan. Well, I know for sure, I'm not going to mention on the interest rate because I didn't write it on my notes. But for sure, they would not give her a loan unless she did the full 30-year for $250,000. And she said, "No, I just want to get it for $15,000 because that's what I need for the work." The contractor said this is what it's going to cost. I think she said she wanted $20,000, so that would put her at $45,000 on a mortgage on a home that's worth $250,000. So she said, "All I want is to get $20,000. It was $15,000 for the repairs that needed to be done." I think she said there was mold or something in the house needed to get taken care of. That's what they were going to charge to do it. And I guess $5,000, which people can do that. They run those commercials all the time where you can take money out of your home, and she has a right to do that. It's her home. Well, they would not make the loan unless she did a 30-year for $250,000. And she's like, "Why would I do that? I'm older, she's up there in the years." She says she want to be able to leave this to her family. This is something that when she passes away, she can pass down the home. They can sell it and disperse the money between their family. This is where they can, it's wealth to the family. She's passing down wealth. Well, they would not do that. They just said they are not going to do it, or which it just doesn't make sense. So Ben Crump is working on that right now, and I guess we're gonna have to see what happens with Wells Fargo. How are they gonna answer this situation? Now let's talk about my situation. I went to a bank. I'm not gonna mention the bank. And what ended up happening is I wanted to get a mortgage loan. Mortgage loan was going to be for $850,000, and I was going to put $70,000 down payment. No, $170,000. That's going to leave $655 $20,000 for the mortgage. Now, check this out. Tell me if you believe that this is discrimination. My scores are in the 800s, all three across the board. I have, 4 different businesses that do well in, millions of dollars, and taxes up to par on one of my companies since 1990. And this is what they wrote. This is an actual email. Well, the person called me, and I was like, okay, what do you got that pre-approval ready? And they said, well, we can't do it until you do this. They wanted me to put reserve funds into 3 of my accounts. They wanted it to equal this amount: $315,827. In another account, $380,432. And in another account, $93,703. Here it is right here.
New visitor.
This is, and I couldn't believe that I was hearing that, and I said, why don't you email that to me? Because I'm like, this is incredible. Now, just so you remember what I just said, the property is $825,000. I'm putting $170,000 down. The property is $655,000. They wanted me to put these amounts in the bank. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? It's like you want me to have the same amount that it would, even more than what the house would cost, which I don't even think that. I mean, just imagine if you're going to buy a house and the bank said to you, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're going to buy a house and you're going to put, let's just say it's a $200,000 house. You're going to put $20,000 down, and they want you to have another $180,000 in the bank. What do you think that is? Now, here's the crazy thing. So, to say if I was discriminated against, you give me you make the decision. So, she said she can't give me the pre-approval until I did that. But something came in the mail 2 days later, and it said, based on our system, your income, your taxes, your credit, underwriting analysis, you're approved. And the crazy thing about it is they didn't approve the 825, they approved 950,000, not the 825. And so you, for sure, that I didn't go to that place. I went to another place, and they approved in one day. So you make the decision on if you believe, put it in your comments. Do you think that it was discrimination? Do you think that maybe she just didn't like me, whatever?
Returning visitor.
But do you think that people who don't look like me and have a business, one of them is 32 years old, about to be 33 years old, has made millions of dollars. I have savings, I have stocks, 2 commercial buildings, 100% paid off. The one I'm in right now is worth $1 million. The other one is $200,000, no mortgages. Remember Magic Johnson, what happened with him when he went to the bank? Kind of sounds similar. So what I'm inviting your comments. I want to hear them from everybody. All right, so if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different. So you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process.
Returning visitor.
If you don't have your credit reports and scores, you need to get them because everything starts there. And we are going to be launching, I just got the email, the one that's going to actually tell you what mortgage company sees, so you can know if you're going to get approved or not, so we can kind of put an end to this craziness that's going on right now. And it also has it for car dealers. You should be getting the rates that you deserve, because make 1 point interest rate can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars that extra that you pay on the mortgage. If you have whatever your credit is, you deserve the going rate for that credit, and you deserve to be approved with under the same standards of anyone. That goes for everybody. Next, if you have debt collectors coming after you, you need to get my 3-pack of letters. And the first one is a statute of limitations letters for debt that is not legal to collect. It could be past the legal statute of limitations. It could also be called time barred. You need to watch out for those 2 terms. That means that they cannot collect the debt. Every state has different statute of limitations. If you don't know it, go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Go to the blog. It's down at the bottom. Type in statute, and then it'll list the statute of limitations. Column number 1 has the regular contract, not revolving accounts. Column number 4 is credit card or revolving type accounts. Sometimes the statute of limitations is different on those. Also, statute of limitations on communications type debt, cell phones, cable bills, those types is only a federal statute of 2 years on those types of debt. So if you have old cell phone bills, that's why they'll sell them off real quick, because they can't really collect on them. So they try to get it to a debt collector, and the debt collector tries to reset the statute of limitations time frame. And the way that they're able to do that is because some people accidentally make a payment, or they don't say anything, and then they end up having it placed on their credit, and it just puts them in a situation where they might end up paying it because they want to get it off their credit report. And then it also has my cease and desist collection activities letter. So if you have a debt that is not past the time bar period or the statute of limitations period, use that letter, because they're not going to expect you to ask those types of questions. And most debt collectors will stop coming after you when they get that. If they don't, then you'll go back and forth, and I give you the debt validation letter, where you can ask certain questions and make them get information to you before, just to make sure that you end up having to pay it or not. It's best to go through the whole process. Some of them, I'm not saying it's 100%. Some of the times you might end up having to pay. All right. Well, thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you post your comments and questions. Thank you.